Hey folks, Brendan from Bluelight here, talking to you from the Bluelight Facebook page. For those of you who haven't seen any of my lives or videos before, this is all about police recruitment. This is what we focus on. By the way, if you want some more information about how to join the amazing Bluelight Facebook groups, then go to the links down below. So a completely unannounced Facebook Live. Let's see, I've got to be about 15 minutes. And the reason why I've got to be 15 minutes, because in 19 minutes, in 19 minutes, I'm going to start course 16 of 2021 for the Online Assessment Centre. So I've got to go at that point. And that's, oh my goodness, it's a crash course, this one. It's taking place over today, which is a Tuesday, Thursday and Friday. And tonight I'm cramming in 2 modules and we're going to be finishing at about 9:30. What an evening this is going to be. Anyway, gosh, there's quite a few, so many of you just joined. Welcome to Nick and Sarah and Ellie and Aidan and Hannah and Kyle and all the rest of you who are joining me this evening. I thought I'd chip in with my thoughts on this degree business, because Twitter has just gone boom over degrees again. The requirement, in inverted commas, to have a degree to be a police officer or to join the police. And I'm going to correct that in a minute because it's not quite true. And also Nick Adley from Northamptonshire Constabulary, the Chief Constable, he's also talking about a lack of life experience, a younger workforce. Are they ready for the challenges? And I think the headline has kind of mixed up his message really a little bit, saying that, trying to intimate that young people with degrees, they're just not ready for policing. So there's a whole load of people that are getting it completely mixed up. You do not, I'll just make this really clear, you do not need to have a degree to join the police. There's a couple of different entry routes. One of them is via a degree in policing, which is recognised by the College of Policing. No one has completed that yet. I think the first ones that will have completed it will be probably this September, coming up, September 21. So, or they'll be completing it in summer 21, I think, or is it 22? Anyway, no one can join in that route yet, so no forces are even advertising it. The other one is degree holder. If you've got a degree in anything, then you can go in through the degree holder route, and you will study towards, you'll still have to study to be a police officer. You'll work hard, you'll have to write essays, you'll have to do exams, you'll have to do all the things that you would have had to have done previously, although it'll be more reflective and you will go deeper. And I'm going to give you an example of that in a moment, because someone's actually, let me just see if I've got it here. Yeah, I'm not going to mention the name of the person, but some pretty awesome thoughts here that have come out of the fact that they are actually doing the Police Constable Degree Apprenticeship. Now that's the third route in. If you don't have a degree, if you do not have a degree, you can go in under the Police Constable Degree Apprenticeship. And this is an awesome scheme, because you're going to be a student officer for 3 years, and at the end of it, you're going to be awarded a degree in policing. I mean, how amazing is that? How amazing is that? You're going to get a degree in policing, and the police are going to pay for it. Actually, the government are going to pay for it because it's an apprenticeship. Actually, no forces do pay for it, because all police forces have been top sliced 1% of their budget to pay for the apprenticeship scheme. So they might as well enroll in it, because they've kind of paid for it in the long way round anyway. Now, why a degree in policing? And I think this is where the marketing has gone wrong, because everyone's up in the air about it. You don't need people with degrees, you need people with common sense. Being able to study and sit at a desk isn't going to get you, isn't going to enable you to be a good police officer. All sorts of stuff out there. But the bottom line is, you do have to study. You don't learn the law and how to do policing by osmosis. A big part of the Police Constable Degree Apprenticeship is about preparing for practical policing anyway. So what's so wrong with that? And it's gone deeper. Your training is actually deeper now. So it's going into things like problem solving and reflecting on what you're doing and why, and reflecting on the complexity of policing. And it is complex. It's far more complex than it was in 1985 when I joined. Now, I'll give you an example here from SJ. I'm not going to say his full name, but I posted something before about, it was a critical analysis about broken windows theory because it's fast approaching the 40th year of that theory. And one of his essays was about, it had something in there about broken windows theory. But he also did some research on alternative theories around problem solving and community engagement and sort of collective efficacy within communities. And do you know, I don't think there's anything so wrong with this. Actually, I think it's pretty good. I was never exposed to any of that kind of thinking as a police officer when I joined. It was just learn the law. This is the law. This is knowledge and understanding. Now go out and practice it, and your tutor will show you how. There's nothing wrong with that back in the time, but I think I would have benefited more if I'd had more input on how we actually prevent those crimes happening in the first place. What investments can we take now in this complex world that we're in to ensure that people grow up in an environment where they're less likely to be involved in crime? And this goes all the way back to Sir Robert Peel, who talked about community welfare and existence as being one of the roles of a police officer. He also talked about the police of the public and the public of the police. Now that's often quoted in this sort of degree argument as well, that the police won't reflect all segments of the community. Well, they never have, and they never will. Forces have always asked for educational qualifications. I don't think there's anything so worrying about requiring you to have a maths and English GCSE as a very basic, because you are going to have to do a level of thinking, and you are going to have to display a level of ability to learn, and you are going to have to be able to write out case files. So I don't think there's anything so wrong with asking for basic qualifications. Now, here's the big issue though, because so many of you are falling down at this big issue, and I think the big issue is the variance across forces in the requirements that they have for you to go in and do the PCDA. Now, a degree is a degree, recognised degree, no problem with that, going in through the degree holder entry programme. But for those of you who are applying for the PCDA, one of the things that's cropping up as an issue is you're getting all the way to the end of the process, and the force is actually then checking your educational qualifications, and you don't have sufficient. And that's one issue. So you can prepare for that by making sure that you are absolutely qualified. You've got the right educational qualifications to actually go in to the PCDA process for that force. And this varies across the country. From Northumbria, who want 180 UCAS points. If you've got life experience, you're in your 40s or 30s and you've got significant life experience, then they will take that into consideration if you don't have 180 UCAS points. But 180 UCAS points is 3 B's A-level. Now, maybe A-levels have been dumbed down a little bit, but I can remember back in the day, I almost became a doctor, you know. If I'd worked harder in my A-levels, I would have been a doctor, because I had an offer of 2 B's and a C to study medicine at Dundee University. 2 B's and a C to be a doctor. And they want 3 B's to be a police officer. Now, I would have had no chance back in the day, because all I had was A-levels. But I probably wouldn't have gone to Northumbria Police. I probably would have gone to a different force. So Merseyside Police, unless they've changed it, they've got a new chief in now, Serena Kennedy. But Andy Cook was very proud of the fact that all they required was maths and English GCSE. Met Police is the same, although the goalposts do change, because the Met did say that you only had to have English. You could get, as long as you got maths by the time you completed your degree, you were fine. They've changed that goalpost now, and now you've got to have maths and English at the very start. So don't be surprised when forces change the goalpost as well, and that's happened to a few members of the Facebook group this week, where they thought they were okay because they've been reassured that they were okay, that the intake they're going into doesn't need X qualifications, and then it gets to crunch time, they just don't have sufficient space. They don't have sufficient spaces in that force. So they've got to make decisions about who they're going to take and how they're going to take them and what criteria they're going to use, and they've used qualifications. And it's perfectly legal and it's perfectly acceptable to do so. So, big issue here is also another big issue here is not just about the educational qualifications, but let's just say they've got 40 places over the next 6 months. 40 places in the next 6 months. Ashmain actually saying in the Met now you need to have 64 UCAS points. So there you go. The goalposts have changed. Ashmain is saying in the Met you need 64 UCAS points. You didn't used to need that, now you do. So everything changes, folks. You've got to be ready for these changes and prepare for them and have a safety net and have a backup plan. Have a plan B and a plan C and a plan D. You can apply to as many forces as you want. You just can't do the online assessment centre in the space of 6 months. You can't do 2 online assessment centres in the space of 6 months. You've got to be spaced out 6 months apart. Oh, here's another ridiculous thing as well. Some people, some of my clients have passed the online assessment centre. They've not managed to get into their chosen force because of these issues. And they're now applying to other forces who are saying that you've got to do the online assessment centre all over again. They did it less than a year ago. They did it less than a year ago. They're going to have to repeat the whole process all over again. How insane is that? Anyway, I'll park that one there as something that's insanity and needs sorting out. But the other issue, like I said, is it's not just about educational qualifications. If there's, let's say, what do we say, 40 places, and there's 80 people who've got all the way through the process, they have to whittle those numbers down. How are they going to do it? Your scores. And this is there was a stated case from 2 years ago with Cheshire where the judge said that this is how you choose people. You don't choose people based on the ones that you want in the job, because everyone's passed and you can pick and choose like a sweetie shop. What the judge said was that, no, you need to have defensible criteria, and the only defensible criteria really is either qualifications or your score at the assessment centre or your score at interview, or combined. You could combine your score at application, assessment centre and interview, and then pick the top scoring individuals. Does that make sense, folks? You might not like it, but that's the way it is. And you might be thinking, that's unfair. No, it isn't. It's been around for ages. When I joined in 1985, I know there were people who passed most of the assessment process. Back then it involved 6 days in total, 3 days in the Welsh Mountains, 3 days and 2 nights in the Welsh Mountains being beasted. And I loved it, by the way. I thought it was an awesome weekend. But they picked the top scoring individuals. It wasn't like a pass mark. If they had 20 places available, they picked the top 20. Simple. And if you'd applied 6 months previously, you might have got in because they wanted 30 people. But this time they only want 20, so you're out. And that's just the way of the world, folks. I can't think of any way around that. If they've only got 20 places, they've only got 20 places. So they've got to whittle the numbers down. So, folks, this is why, shameless plug here, this is why in 6 minutes' time, course 16 starts, because I'm going to raise them to a level for the online assessment centre, which is up here. If they follow the templates, if they follow the guidance I set them, they will get massive scores. They won't just pass, they'll get awesome passes. People who follow my guidance for the stage 3, they're walking out with scores in the 80s and 90s for the stage 3. It's way beyond the pass mark, way beyond the pass mark. Similarly, for what we're going to do tonight, we're going to practice the stage 2. We rehearse so that on the day we come across as prepared and confident. The hard work's in the rehearsals, folks, and that's what we're going to do tonight. Anyway, let's do some shout outs and have a look at some of the comments. I hope this was useful for you. If it was useful, like it, let me know. Love or like or do something, press those buttons on Facebook. Facebook loves it and it sends it to other people who can also benefit from this message. And also add some comments as well if you can. John's saying you're meant to get protected learning time for degree work or diploma work. The reality is it's not the case. The operational demands of the job means it's just not possible. Be prepared to work on degree assignments in your own time, as well as year 1 and 2 SOLAP work. Yeah, it depends on the force. I hear different things, John. Some forces are good at it, some are terrible. They don't give you any protected time. So that is very much down to the supervision and the management in that force. David's saying, will functional skills and adult numeracy at level 2 suffice in lieu of GCSE maths at grade C or above? Check with the force. Different forces, different rules. 43, actually almost 50 ways of getting into the police, all of them completely different. All of them completely different. All got their own ideas about what they want and what they need. So any other comments before I go, because I'm going to have to go. Shaf, you are so cheeky. I wasn't even born then, 1985. My guess is a lot of you weren't born in 1985. Yes, I'm an old fart. And a few shout outs: Tracy, Josh, Millie, Lloyd, Luke, Dean, Barry, Galena saying, hey Brendan, you need a level 3 with Nottingham and Derbyshire. Yes, you do. Yeah, that's good. I got 79.9% using your assessment centre. Yay! Awesome result. Brilliant. 79.9. God, if you just got that 0.1, would have nudged you into the 80, wouldn't it? But it doesn't matter. So you got a really good score there, Galena. So, and Knots is a good force as well. It's Knots a good force. Quick question: would your medical history stop you joining? As I'm currently on medication for anxiety. Drop me a personal message there, Galena. I'd like to take that offline if I could. But drop me a personal message, and I can give you my best advice there on how to manage the rest of the process. Okay, if that's all right. But nothing to be ashamed of. I'm not saying there's nothing to be ashamed of. Mental illnesses, anxiety, no different to a broken arm. But different forces have different takes on it, and it's a completely different, I'm just looking at the time now, a completely different set of rules from force to force. So I can give you some advice around how to manage that. Anna is saying, will police accept a foreign degree? It depends on the force. Depends on the force, depends on the degree, depends what country it came from. And there is, you can go online and look at whether it's acceptable, whether it's it's an equivalent of. So do MDP, CNC still require the DHEP route? Don't know off the top of my head, Josh, don't know. Paul saying, keep up with the good work. Thank you. Neve is saying, how do I know my past percentage? Some forces tell you, some don't. I've just had someone email me to say, here's my results, I can't figure them out. Because what they say is, these are the percentage pass marks, but then they go to the next page and it just tells me I've passed. It doesn't tell me. So the College of Policing are sending out this guidance that says, well done, you passed. These are the pass marks for each different one of the stages. The percentage you've got to get to pass each stage and overall. And then he goes to the next page and it just says you've passed. So what's the point in telling them what the percentages were? Some forces do, some forces don't. I don't understand. Anna, Poland, EU country, shouldn't be an issue that, Anna, but check with your force. Check earlier and get it in writing as well. Get it in writing. That's a big problem, just get it in writing. Because the amount of times people go, don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember that. So Neves has said, I've just got into West Midlands Police PCDA and they never told me. Yeah, exactly. So, but you're in. Neva, are you in the Serving Officers Facebook group? If not, why not? Join it. Join it. Neva's saying, I used your YouTube videos, help me. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Come and join the Serving Officers Facebook group. Over 3,000 individuals in there. Absolutely awesome group. Loads of support for your career, and the time to start preparing for the next stage in your career is now, Neve. It's now. Right, well, on that note, I'm going to go, folks, because I did say it'd be short and sweet. 17:59 now. At 1800 in 1 minute. No, now! I've got to start course 16. So, folks, awesome to have you on board. Give me some loves and likes. Ask any questions. I'll go back to this after. And if you only came in halfway through, then when I press finish, I'll also be pressing record thing. So it'll post it in the Facebook page. And I'll also link it in, I'll link it into the Facebook group later on. Some loves and likes, please. Keep them going. Like the page as well. If you've not liked the Blue Light page, like it now. Do it now. Do it now. And if you're not a member of one of the Facebook groups for serving officers or for people who want to join the police, I'll put something in the comments with the links so you'll be able to find the Facebook group. For those of you just joined now, I'm sorry I'm going. About to run a course. I shall see you soon. Stay safe and like I've always said, if you're at work at the moment or you do work in a role that requires a blue light on top of your vehicle, then I love you. You're amazing. If you are looking to join a role that involves a blue light on top of your vehicle, then I doff my cap to you. Kudos to you. Going into the best job in the world. I'll see you all soon, folks. Bye-bye for now.